Today we have the latest batch of Stag, no longer Stag Junior, and it is 24B. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Welcome back to the Bourbon Retriever, where I go on the wild, hunt bourbon, and bring it back for you. And today I feel like that is very fitting because this is a Stag batch. We got the little antlers here, hunting references. I'm not a hunter. Is it hunting season? Maybe it is. But regardless, it is bourbon hunting season. And I was able to get the latest batch of Stag, not Stag Junior anymore, 24B. It's coming in at 127.8 proof. This is on the lower end of what Stag batches typically are. They can vary anywhere from that like 128 up to like the low 130s, 132, 133-ish. Now this is supposed to be a $50 bourbon, but given the limited supply of it, plus the high demand, considering it is a Buffalo Trace distilled whiskey, you have a hard time finding it for that price. I was able to get it in one of the Virginia random drops here in Virginia, but if you aren't able to get it at your local store on like some type of loyalty program, you're probably looking at closer to 150, maybe even higher for Stag Junior batches. So as I said earlier, this is coming from the Buffalo Trace Distillery. It's the same mash bill as the Granddaddy George T. Stag, just a little younger. These come in, they don't say online how old they are, but they're rumored to be 8 to 10 years old. On the online description, it says a little under a decade, but there is no age statement anywhere on the bottle. So Stag batches are some of my favorite whiskey that comes out every year. When I first started getting into hunting, it was the bottle that I wanted most. I had almost impossible time finding any of them in the Virginia system. And I remember having a conversation with a local bourbon enthusiast, just describing how much I was dying to try and find one of these bottles. And he was generous enough to offer me a 2-ounce sample. He really didn't want anything in return. I had almost no bottles really of value at the time, but him being willing to do that created a very wonderful moment with me and my brother. I saved that 2-ounce sample, and at Christmas time, I popped it with me and my brother, because my brother's also at the time, this was his #1 Yukon bottle also. So we had that together, and it was just a wonderful memory that I'll always cherish with my brother. So I encourage you, other enthusiasts out there who have been in the hobby for a while, try and give back to others who are just starting out in the whiskey hobby. One of those moments early on in the whiskey journey can be very impactful for them having a good impression about this hobby. I've seen too many times someone gets in, they get frustrated, and they immediately get out. So I kindly recommend you guys to also pay it forward. But let's go ahead and jump into it and see if this one meets expectations. All right, let's jump into the aroma. Cheers. Yeah, that just smells like a very well-aged jam. Take your cherries, take your grapes, muddle them together, put it in a jar and let it just sit there for what feels like years. And it's just that nice metal jam note with a little bit of oak come in to help balance it out. Yeah, I'm really pleasant that the oak is finally coming through on this bottle. I opened this maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks ago at this point. Got it down to right here where you can see almost at the label. When I first opened it, it was just a ton of fruit, almost no oak at all. That was the consensus across the group that I shared it with. But here on this pour now, a lot more of that oak is coming through, which I am super excited about. Yeah, right on the aroma there, I think this could compete with many Ellie bottles that are commanding a $200 price tag. Like, that is almost exactly the aroma that I want in a whiskey when I open it. So let's go ahead and jump into the palate. Oh wow, that's like a fruit basket. That's a very strong sweetness on the palate there. Almost like if you took Welch's grape juice and then just threw a little bit of like vodka in there. It tastes like alcoholic Welch's grape juice. Tons of fruit on there. I think there's other fruit in there too, like the cherry, maybe even a pear. It just tastes like a fruit basket almost. Not a light fruit though, like these aren't straight picked from the tree. They're definitely aged fruit, not ripe, but it is just like a whole muddling of fruit in there. Yeah, on the front end there, it's very syrupy, to like take a nice molasses. I don't know if you have at home, like, you know, I don't know if you ever put syrup like straight in your tongue, like that viscosity to it, that texture. That is kind of what I'm getting on the front end. It's just a nice, rich, deep, thick syrup taste. And then right when that syrup hits your tongue there, it kind of dissolves a little bit into your palate, and it turns into that nice, sweet, kind of Welch's grape juice I was talking about earlier. And then there's definitely some spice there. Very light though, not very prominent. Like this is not like a black pepper, like when you crack it onto like an entree you're making. It's not that stark, but maybe I'm thinking like maybe a cinnamon pepper. Like I'm not getting the cinnamon note, but that kind of like spice you get from cinnamon, where it's kind of a light lingering spice that's kind of going on the side palate there. I would definitely say this drinks is proof. Not over hot, like it's not burning your palate out, but it doesn't drink, you know, under 115 or that. You definitely tell there's some proof there. And then it has a nice long finish. It's not just, you know, an ethanol burn finish. There is flavor there. I'm trying to figure out exactly how to describe the finish, but it's just a nice lingering of those sweet notes with a little bit maybe like a clove, not like a nutmeg. I'm trying to think. I think probably clove is probably the best thing you can describe that finish there, but it's nice and lingering. Yeah, I don't know if it's because it's fall, that time of year, but cinnamon is almost in every product you can buy. And to me right now, that lingering note on the back end is 100% maybe a clove cinnamon mix, just kind of lingering on the tongue there. Not like an Aroma finish, like it's not that level of cinnamon, but I think it's just a nice little fall spice there in the end. Before I jump into my final thoughts on the Stagg 24B, if you're enjoying this content, hit that subscribe button. That way you don't miss any content I have coming out in the future. In addition, if you're looking for ways to support the channel, I've launched a Discord if you want to go and jump into our community, and I've also launched a Patreon. Come and join us over there. So is this a buy, pass, bar pour? I would say that almost anytime you see a Stagg Junior for 50 bucks, it's a buy. They're almost uniformly great bottles of whiskey. For me, if I saw this on the shelf $50, it would be a buy. Now, who's gonna really love this bottle of whiskey is someone who likes traditionally like sweeter Stagg profiles. This is definitely one of the more sweet forward Staggs that I've had almost maybe even ever. It doesn't have a lot of those sharp oak notes or even like caramel. Like it doesn't have those nice richer notes on that end that I typically would preferably like to have on a Stagg batch. But for the ones out there who just love super sweet notes, this is 100% up their alley. But at the end of the day, you can't go wrong with any Stagg batch. I think if you get this, you're gonna be super happy. But if you're enjoying this content, before you head out, make sure you check out this video or this one. And until next time, cheers.